Okay.
Kevin, can you tell how many people we have on?
Let's see.
We have 42 participants at this point, so we're getting there.
Okay, thanks.
I know we're a minute or two early, but Diane, you want to go ahead and start us off this morning?
Actually, if you don't mind, I'd really like to wait until 10 o'clock. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
I'm looking out the windows here. I'm on my porch and I'm looking at the road going down to Natalie's cottage. If you haven't seen the lovely swags on the windows at Natalie's cottage, they look beautiful. And then there looks like a wet, maybe icy road. And that icy road is treacherous, and we don't know just how it is on any given sidewalk or on any given roadway. So we're going to have to be careful. Every year we have someone fall down. We've had broken bones. We've had some pretty bad headaches, minor concussions. So if you're out walking your dog, be careful, please. Pretend it's ice before you even take a step. Oh, we keep having more come on, don't we?
Looks like we have about 75 logged on now, Diane, and it's 10:01.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready.
Let's start. Welcome. This is going to be interesting. It was one thing to do a residents association meeting up in Kendal Hall and doing it by way of Zoom. And today we're each in our own places. I appreciate very much staff helping us get this all set up. And now let us begin with a moment of quiet, please. Thank you. I want to reiterate what I just said because all of you may not have heard, but it's worth saying twice. Please be careful going outside. When you go out your door, pretend that you're stepping onto ice. Keep your knees bent, lean forward, all of those things that help. And it may only be wet, but we don't know when it might turn to ice. Let's try to avoid falls and broken bones. Now, there's a lot that we're going to be covering today, so I'm going to let Jan begin with an update, and then we're going to go on to other reports from our staff and administration at the top. But let's begin with Jan, if you would, please.
Okay, good morning, everyone. COVID-19 update, we'll start with that first. I have been sending updates to all of you as we receive news on our positive COVID test results. As of today, we are still at 9 residents and 5 staff. So we are not seeing any new signs or symptoms as of today, and we're working hard to keep it that way. We did test all Borden and Webster residents, as well as mandatory testing for all of our staff the beginning of this week. In my memo on Monday, I did direct you to our Kendal at Lexington website as we continue to post updates there. Any updates that I send to you, Jessica is trying to put out on the website. So that's a great place for your families to be able to stay on top of what is happening here as well. I did receive information from next door that the 9 residents are still showing mild to moderate symptoms. So we are praying hard and taking good care of those folks on our 600 COVID hall. We have received updated measures from Governor Northam, as you all well know, that went into effect on Monday. All indoor and outdoor public gatherings and private in-person gatherings must be limited to 10. Masks must always be worn indoors, including during exercise. Physical distancing for exercising remains at no less than 10 feet. And it is highly recommended to wear masks outdoors as well, especially when you are within 6 to 10 feet of another person. So we will continue to watch if we have any other updates from Governor Northam, as well as the CDC and the Virginia Department of Health. Please remember that it's absolutely critical that folks are wearing their masks properly, and properly is exactly how Becky is wearing hers. If you can see Becky, she has it up over her nose and her mouth, and that is the way everyone should be wearing their mask. If you do not have a well-fitting mask, you need to get one. There are plenty of options, sizes, shapes, colors on Amazon. If you have struggle finding them, please let us know and staff will help you locate one. But it is critical right now that we make sure we're doing that properly. I sent out a vaccine question and answer document yesterday to all residents and staff. Borden and Webster family members and residents received that as well. This document addresses many questions and concerns that have actually been raised to us about the COVID vaccine. Although we are still amid ongoing research and the development of other vaccines, this is what we know at the present time. We used various documents to create this information, so as we get more, we will update you and share appropriately. At this time, no vaccine distribution has been scheduled for Borden. I am actually planning, if all goes well, to be on 2 separate Zoom calls today for updates from Virginia on the vaccine distribution. So I am sure that there will be questions about this, and I will be glad to answer those at the end of my presentation, or if Diane wants to wait till the end of the meeting, that's fine as well. Phase 3 update, we have shut down Borden to all construction due to the positive COVID cases. This will obviously put us behind on completion, but what else is new? Limited work does continue in other areas, but we are testing all construction workers that are coming on to our campus. We did have an IT assessment scheduled for today and tomorrow, but we have canceled that with Dave Baker due to the COVID cases, the weather, and just the focus of the staff right now is really on those residents in Borden and what we can do to protect all of our other residents. So we really felt that we wanted to, it's critical that we focus on them now, but it's also critical that we focus on our IT direction as well. So we felt maybe in January, we would be able to reschedule that and move that forward as we had planned in December. On a brighter note, we are scheduled to get some snow today, and your executive director is very, very happy about that. I am looking out and I am seeing it's still sleeting, so I am holding out for the hope that we will see some white stuff out there. Unfortunately, it does add a layer of stress to our staff who's under enough stress right now, but please bear with us as we continue to try to stay ahead of the storm and also clean it up on the tail end as well. Diane is right. You know, be very careful if the electricity does fail us. Please make sure that you have blankets, flashlights, hot chocolate, and peppermint sticks close by, and you will survive. Herbie recommends that if you must go in and out and you are a cottager, use your garage access. You'll lose less heat that way. And usually Virginia Power does respond to us fairly quickly, but we don't know, being an initial ice storm this early in the season, there might be some loose limbs and they will be bound to come down. So if you don't need to go out, wrap up with a good book or your favorite hobby and enjoy that beauty outside right now. Last but not least, I do ask you to continue to keep our residents and staff in your thoughts and prayers. We've been so fortunate to this point, And I can assure you that the staff continues to be very focused on your health and safety. If you do have any concerns or questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to staff. We will be glad to help you to the best of our abilities. So that concludes my report. Dianne, if you want to take questions now, I'll be fine. If not, go ahead. Okay, so does anyone have any questions for me about anything, especially the vaccine document?
Jan,
Yes?
Nelson Potter.
Hello?
There's a young or old middle-aged lady down by the cafe at, 6 o'clock in the morning when I exercise. Is it my place to tell her to wear a mask? She never has one on. She's close to the kitchen. I don't know if that's where she works.
So is it a worker or is it a resident, Nelson?
It's a worker.
Yes, everyone should have their masks on. I will let Judy know. I don't know who that would be, but we will find out. All staff have been educated numerous times. If you see anyone, staff or residents, without a mask, please, it is your responsibility, as we are in this together, to make sure they understand. And I would be very outspoken about that. And I would say, you know what, to protect me, I would appreciate you wearing your mask.
Will do.
Thank you. Any other questions at all? No questions on the vaccine document? Did everybody get it? Okay. Understandable, I hope.
Not a question, Jan, but that document is also up on Katie Webb.
Awesome. Thank you, John. You're the best. As I get more information, as I said, I'll be on a couple calls today. There's one at 7 o'clock tonight. You know, it's coming out. We will start to see. We may not be phase 1. They are definitely giving to those folks that have struggled more than we have. And if you are aware, we have some communities right around us that have a lot of COVID cases and unfortunately COVID deaths. So we are very fortunate, and we are working hard to keep it that way. Okay, thanks, Dianne.
Okay, let's move on to the report from marketing. Kevin
Great.
and Katie.
Yeah, Jessica's out of here for a few days, so Kevin and I will give you a report this morning. As of mid-December, there are 7 residences that are unoccupied. 4 of those 7 are now spoken for. The reserved residences include a reservation for 88 Sycamore. That scheduled closing is in January. TX3 on 204 Sunrise Ridge is scheduled for February. And an internal move to apartment 12. But we do have a reservation for the apartment that will become open after that internal move. And we also have a reservation for a cluster cottage 1001 that's scheduled for a February move-in. There continues to be 2 duplexes on Sunrise Ridge and 1 large cluster cottage that remain open. Right now, our on-campus tours have been put on pause until we can reassess visitation protocols in mid-January. But we continue to do our Zoom tours and our presentations keep going on. But thank you guys, and I'll hand this over to Kevin.
Well, as Katie said, we're for the moment not doing tours, but we have had several tours since our last meeting. Katie had 2 in-person tours and a virtual tour. Her in-person tours were some folks from Roanoke and from Richmond, and then someone from New York City, or New York anyway, for the virtual tour that she gave. I did a tour and a resident lunch last month with a 1965 W&L alum who lives on an island off the shore of South Carolina and is contemplating moving here. I don't think we have him 100% convinced yet, but that visit that day moved him strongly in our direction, I think. Also gave a tour to a man from New Jersey who was shopping for a new home for his mother. Our most recent resident speaker panel was held on November 19th. 31 households of prospects and waitlist members signed in and watched as a panel of our residents talked about staying connected with the community during the pandemic. And we also presided over the assembly of 150 gift bags for underprivileged seniors in the Rockbridge area. The bags are being distributed before Christmas by VPASS, the Valley Program for Aging Services, which also runs the Maury River Senior Center. So thank you to Kendal residents who donated some of the gifts and helped stuff the 150 bags with the toiletries, coloring books, and a blanket, among other things from Kendal. So that's it from marketing.
Any questions for Kevin or for Katie or marketing? Let's see, Judy Kurtz, are you on the call too?
I am indeed.
Okay, let's hear from you.
So good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you, if only virtually. I do hope you're enjoying the 12 days of Christmas. We put that together. Lords of Leaping, I think, was probably my most difficult day to figure out. So when you have a frog in your dessert cup, it's intended to be there. It is a gummy bear, and yes, you may indulge in it. I think the most important thing as we wind down this year is the fact that I just want to remind you that we will be capping out points at 600 points, just like we were prior to COVID. So if you have any questions, you may call Kelsey or myself. If you have any points questions, we can talk over the phone. We can look at exactly what you're looking at and guide you through where you are. Probably the easiest way is on the bottom right-hand side of your meal plan is how many points you used. Add 300 to that. If it goes over 6, you start at 6. If it's under 6, you start at that particular point. But again, if you have any questions, call me 464-2607 and we can go over it. I get several emails and I need you guys to help me out with this. The kitchen phone number is 464-2620. I am fortunate enough to not have to be here 7 days a week. So if you're sending me emails on Saturday or Sunday, I very frequently don't get to them till Monday. If you need to cancel by 10 a.m., please. Then we can remove your product off the distribution line, as it were, and make sure that you don't get meals. What else? I've had a couple of comments that, hey, why is the food late? Please remember, we scheduled food deliveries between 12 and 2. We've gotten pretty good at it. Everybody's usually back, including the bus, by 12:45. So keep that in mind. There may be a day where we might be a little bit behind and you might be 10 minutes later than normal, but we do have an hour cushion in between there. So does anybody have any questions for me?
Judy, tell why the schedule got shifted a little bit recently on the delivery.
Well, we haven't really shifted the schedule. We try and leave by 11:30, and the schedule has not changed. We do Sunrise Ridge first, backwards, so the bus door is on the right-hand side, so my staff does not have to cross in front of the bus. And we hit Cluster Cottage North, Sycamore even, because the bus door is on the right-hand side. Cluster Cottage is south, and then Sycamore Lane is odd. On the inside, the interior here, we've combined Cox and South. Maybe that's what you're referring to, Diane. Cox is a small run. That goes out first. We fill the bus, Cox person comes back, and then does the South Cottage with an assistant because I need 2 carts.
You made some adjustment because Borden was completely locked down. So you had to do some adjusting for providing food for the staff. Is that right?
That's going fairly well. Yes, we do. We're trying to keep Borden and Anderson food, staff, support all separate. So we are running the carts up and any needs that they have. Hopefully, like yesterday, dinner time will deliver the breakfast needs, bananas, Coke, gloves, any of those things that won't spoil. And we try and stay one day ahead on that. And then we do dash the food up there rather than them coming here to collect it and pick it up. So, yes, Ed.
Would you repeat the phone number, please?
For the kitchen.
For the kitchen.
Phone number for the kitchen is 464-2620.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Other questions for Judy? If not, Herbie, are you on the call? Okay, Herbie may not be, but Herbie told us last week that some heaters had arrived, 6 heaters, and he said at the meeting that they were going to try them out in some different locations. For instance, down on the patio courtyard level of out by the dining room and see how those worked. I don't know if they'll go up to the veranda level or not. And once we've tried out what seems to work for a location, then he would bolt them down just to make sure that they're very stable and secure for us. They obviously have had a lot of other things that they've been tending to right now during one thing and another. So at some point we'll actually see the heaters so that we might be able to do some activities, limited activities out there. I'd like to add that one thing that Paul Cormier and I got together and we were looking at, maybe there were some activities carefully, safely spaced out that we could do. And after we got the account of the COVID positive test, we sort of started making paper airplanes with the thoughts of what we might be able to do, and we're going to sail them across the room when we were having our stepping out committee, because they went. We just have to buckle down right now. It's for everyone's safety, and we all have to do our part to try to keep safe. I'd like to remind you that we have some residents that are going to forget, not wear a mask, not pull it up the way they should, maybe go out and about a little bit more than they should. We have to try to help each other and gently do some reminding, be tolerant, and helping to each other during all of this. It's just going to be a hard patch, and fortunately, because the vaccine is coming, we can see that light far off down at the end of the tunnel, but it's going to take a while for everyone to get vaccines to make sure that we can go about maybe to some semblance more of the life that we would like to be having for ourselves, traveling, seeing family, and so on. We usually do not have a meeting in December of the Residents Association because so many other things are going on, but it seemed quite apt that we did this particular year because there's other things that we want to be keeping informed about. So I thought that it was a good idea to do this. Since this is the last meeting of the year and we're doing things that transition to the new year, I wanted to thank very much the outgoing members of the Residents Council. As you know, we had our election last month, and those new people coming on are Margaret Fletcher and Meg Stackpole. We welcome them. Sarah Giddings is continuing in a different role on the Residents Council. And outgoing, we have Bill Shellstead, who has served for 2 years, and Doreen Fulzen-Logan has served 2 years, and Bob Gettings 1 year. I want to thank them very much. It's working on Residents Council. It really takes a team. There are different viewpoints, but it all helps to make it stronger. There's a saying that the sum is greater than the parts, and I really believe that because of the different opinions that we would hear and trying to come up with decisions and so on. So I thank them heartily. More thanks. Thank you, Jan. What a year you have jumped in or fallen into whatever it is. And I remember at one meeting, a person said, "You're still here." And I think we all need to thank you for hanging in there with a smile and diligence, and certainly to all of our wonderful staff, because it's been a hard slug as we go through this, and we really appreciate it. Not only was there never-ending construction, then there's COVID and all of this. So keep riding your bike, but not today. Okay. Since we last met, we have had some very nice events. We did have our wonderful craft fair. I want to thank Ruth Toffel and Nancy Epley for doing that. That was fun, and I think we all enjoyed it. I hope that some of you, that all of you with some talents would think about participating. Becky already tentatively put the first weekend in December on our Kendal calendar for next year to do it. And with luck, we might have it 2 days. We'll see where it goes, but have some fun and use your talents to make things that would maybe be in the show next year. As Kevin said, we did do the bags, Santa for seniors, and so many of you participated. I was one of the people that was in the room when we were doing them. I got dizzy going around the room as we took a bag and threw things into it, and we had 17 different items that went into the bags, but especially marketing really put that together. Many of you gave checks, and so Jessica bought some things online so that we could fill it all up, but it all came together. And this really shows Kendal's being a partner in the bigger community. I think that being community partners is important. And I know that as we go into the new year and we're looking more at the implementation of the strategic plan, that we're going to look at more ways that Kendal can be a community partner, among other things we're going to be doing. I thank the people who have put up the holiday decorations. It does add such a nice festive touch, and we really do appreciate it. And let's enjoy it during the season that they're up. They do it every year. New this year is a lovely New England village in Kendal Hall. If you haven't seen that, do drop by. Karen Mick and her trusty crew put that up, and we're so appreciative that she shared that. And John Tucker, along with Steve Mick and with Burrow Fisher, set that up. And that's lovely to see up in Kendal Hall. So you can go up and reach underneath the curtain to hit the toggle switch and watch the train go around. So there's some things that you can do. The strategic plan implementation, there are a lot of different work groups, and I confess that I get confused with all of them. But it's really good for us to come together and to look at what of these plans we can do in year one, and given COVID. But some really good ideas are coming up, and I think at our next meeting we can start talking a little bit more about how these are progressing. But there are a lot of emails going back and forth in different areas, and seems some really positive steps that will be taken in this coming year. The capital budget will be interesting to watch how that continues to evolve during this year, because that includes many of the suggestions that you made in the summer about what you'd like to see. Not all, because it can't, but I think you'll see some progress on many of those different things. One other thing I'd like to do, because we're using Zoom so much more, it would really help if we had more residents who would be willing to coordinate Zoom calls like this today. Marketing set up this call today. I know some of you do have Zoom accounts. There are a few tricks, I think, to doing it, but I know many of you have the abilities, and it would really be helpful if we had some more people who would be willing to be Zoom coordinators. Maybe then we can do a few more programs by way of Zoom and so on. So I would like that if we could get that done during this upcoming year. I know there's something else that I was going to say, but I can't think of it right now. I'm going to turn this over to Sarah, who's going to update you on a wonderful part of what you all have done these past months. Sarah? Sarah? Is she there? There she is. Can you unmute her? Kevin? Sarah, unmute.
Okay, my computer needs rebooting and my mouse has disappeared, so I couldn't unmute myself. Before I start on my good news, I'm going to add something to what Dianne said a few minutes ago, and we want to welcome Bill Fulton to the new council also, who is taking over as vice president. So anyway. Yes, I come bearing really, really good news. I'm going to start at the bottom. We had 129 of our staff members received checks from the Staff Appreciation Fund. One person got the minimum size check, which was $24.72. 6 people were less than $100, but the best part was 49 people got the maximum, and the maximum was $988.63. And what the 164 donors created in order for these people to get those checks was, drum roll please, a grand total collected of $100,815. So all these figures will be in the January connections and possibly in an extra before then, but this over $100,000 collected. I am just ecstatic and happy, and thank you all. Thank our wonderful staff who got these checks, and thank all of you for contributing and making this possible this time. So thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Bill, forgive me. That's wonderful. And thank you again so much to all of you who made that possible. One of the things that's come about during COVID is that I have calls with the presidents of the different resident associations at the affiliates, the Kendal affiliates. It's really interesting to find out what they do. And I have to say, we are really generous, and compared to the others, we're smaller than the other Kendal communities, and we still are just shining forth. And I'm really so proud. I'm sorry, I just have to be particular for our particular Kendal. We're the best one. Are there any questions or comments or thoughts that any of you have? I know we're each in our own abodes, but this is a time to put them forward. If you do have anything that you want to say, add. Kevin, you can go through the screen.
Okay, just when talking about the Christmas decorations, I remember hearing that there might be a tree out on the library patio, but I'm not aware there is one. Can we get a status?
Jan?
Yes, I believe there is going to be a tree out there. Status report. Ted, you're asking a lot. I'm sorry. I do not know. I will make sure that we get that information out to all of you, though. Becky, do you happen to have any news on that?
I do not.
Okay. I will ask Jennifer Barnes and we will get back to you.
Dianne,
Yes.
there's a question from Kendal Hall,
Okay.
and that is, when will the dining room open?
Oh.
Well, Bill Shelsted coordinated the last time that we asked for people when they thought that it would open and having envelopes. And when I asked resident council if they wanted to go through that again, there was this uniform no, because we don't want to do that. Who knows? We have made various trial attempts to say when it would open, but we are really right now, let's hope we're at the peak of this being close to us. We're just going to have to forego that and do the best we can with your carefully selected quarantine if you want to be sharing a meal, but we are not going to go into the dining room. Sorry, I wish we could. It's I figure it was June 10th last year was when we began eating upstairs in Kendal Hall. It's been that long since we've eaten downstairs. It's a long time, and it just is bothersome, but we have COVID, and so what do? We're trying to stay safe, and that's the top priority. Other questions?
Diane, I think for that particular resident and all the other residents, we want to open.
I know.
But for the safety of everybody involved, we need to make sure that we do the right things for the residents, the staff, and any visitors that eventually will be allowed back.
Eventually.
I like to say on the Christmas tree, the outside Christmas, I talked to Herbie 2 days ago, and he said it's still on his schedule, but it's such a huge tree. It's going to take 3 or 4 maintenance people to put it up in the different sections. It'll take ladders and all that, because I was going to ask Herbie, well, if I could do it with another couple of the residents, that you can't do it. It's such a huge tree. And once it gets erected, they're going to have to tie it off with wires connected to the balustrade of the balcony there, because to keep it from tipping off. So it's a major undertaking. He still hopes to have it up before Christmas, but as soon as he gets his people together, but it's going to take 3 or 4 of his people to put that whole thing together. So it's on his schedule.
I just wanted to make a comment about the outdoor Christmas tree. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a spectacular Christmas tree down in the garden area just below the upper deck, made by, I don't know, it looks like by the kitchen people, because all the decorations are kitchen implements and tin foil and clamshell holders and stuff. It's quite an amazing Christmas tree.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Barry, because I was going to say we've got to see the, what would you call it, kitschy?
Yeah, it's kitschy from the kitchen.
I don't know. I think maybe what we need to do is find out who did it and what inspired them to put on the decorations that they did. But anyway, I noticed it yesterday. I went by the windows and then I went back. What's that? And I couldn't quite see. I haven't been out to see yet. Penny, you need to unmute, Penny. Unmute. Can't hear you.
Okay, now.
Now.
Yes, yeah. I watched the whole tree being decorated, and I certainly identified Ted Burrows and Elsa, and I sort of gathered that the rest was horticulture committee. I thought I saw Beth, but I'm not sure. But there was a group of people there, and if you go and look at the tree closely and read the note at the bottom, which is very hard to do, and I can't quite remember all of it, but it's a Charlie Brown Christmas. That's what I have seen and surmised.
Aha, so we know who it was.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. From my apartment, not much goes on the courtyard that isn't watched, even inadvertently.
There were a lot of other people besides Elsa
Yes,
and me.
I know. I know.
Long ago in Lexington, down when the old courthouse was the courthouse, there were rows and rows of toothbrushes planted along the walkway. And to this day, I don't know if they have ever discovered who planted all of the toothbrushes that were there. And so it was just, at least we know this year who did the Charlie Brown tree.
So Penny, thank you for speaking up, because I was getting ready to give Judy an earful because she's already over in her budget. So, so thank you. You just saved Judy's life.
Bless you, Penny. Bless you, bless you, bless you.
Okay, is there anything else?
I have a question for Judy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Judy? Hi, Bruce King. First time getting, using up points for food and related items. Is that good? Can you tell me the schedule on when that will be delivered?
Sure. You're up on Sunrise?
Yes, ma'am.
Last week of the month. It'll be the Saturday after Christmas.
Okay, the 26th?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
I'd like to say something to Judy. This is Elizabeth Harrelson. You are continuing a long-standing tradition. When Kendal first opened, there was no wallpaper, there was no carpeting. It was such a mess. And the food director said, we have to do something compensatory. And Judy, in the middle of this pandemic, you have been doing compensatory stuff. Thank you.
For those
90%
of
of it is my staff. I just run around with my hair on fire. So, did we lose somebody?
No, we lost you.
Oh, I will send my regards to them.
For those of you who don't know, Elizabeth was the first marketing director. And so when all of the very first residents moved in 2000, Elizabeth got to kind of figure out with the staff how things would be going, but there were a lot of cords still out there and so on. So she has a lot of remembrances of those very first days, but she's still smiling. Any other comments? Thank you. I wish you all very happy holidays, and we're going to do this together. There's a wonderful bulletin board outside of Herbie and Jennifer's office in the hallway with all the hands that you all put up, the green hands. Go look at that when you can, and let's stay safe, and I'll be here again in January. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.